Hi, this is Kelly with Gia's Italian Kitchen. I am here with the most amazing special guest, Adriana Trigiani. Did I say that right?
Trigiani.
Trigiani, who is a New York Times best-selling author, and she has a new book coming out. And she's here with me, well, virtually, to talk about just everything Italian, all of her books and her upcoming book and travels to launch the book. So thank you so much, Adriana, for
Oh, thank
being
you for
here.
having me in sweltering Iowa.
Yeah, it's pretty hot outside and humid. We get a lot of humidity, but I'm
All
sure you
right.
do too out east, right?
That's okay. Yeah, you could tell. I have
Yeah.
curly hair. Like I have curly hair 9 months of the year because it's humid. Then the other 3 months I have frizz.
Yeah. Oh, usually I'm
Yeah.
up in a ponytail.
Your hair is beautiful. I don't know what you use, but it looks gorgeous.
You're sweet.
And you have very classic features. Are you Italian?
Maybe. Yes, my
What
mom
that
is
mean?
100%.
Your mom's 100%. What's the maiden name?
Lenzini.
Okay, so you're Sicilian.
No, no, Lenzini is you
Oh,
know
you
what's
said
really
Lenzini. I
odd?
thought you said Lenzi. Say it again,
Lenzini.
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 Well, you're probably Tuscany North.
Yes.
Then.
Yes.
I know. Yeah,
Well,
I
you
didn't
know
have to
what's
hear that Eni
yeah, the
Lenzini.
Eni. Lenzini, Tanucci, Gambini
All right.
are
Yeah,
the
you're to the north. Parma, Parma and north.
yeah.
Yeah, good
Well,
for
and you
you.
know what's funny? The town that, and we'll get into the book a lot, obviously. We'll unpack that. But the town of Carrara is literally like 2 hours from where my grandparents are from.
Isn't that something?
Isn't that crazy?
I
So
love
it's
it.
like, well, and actually, I have this map. Not that you can
Well,
see
it's
it,
on.
but
It's for people that can't see what we're talking about.
yeah, I have
It's
this
on a
map
towel.
of Italy that they're like dish
Formaggio.
towels, but like there's the cheeses of
Yeah,
Italy,
the
where
cheeses of
things are
Italy.
from.
Yeah, yeah.
But from
Well,
like Florence and Rome, you could make a perfect triangle to Carrara and it's
that's
Castro
right.
de Pelago up in the mountains.
That's right. And they had to get that marble down the mountain so Michelangelo could sculpt it.
This was meant to be. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I
I'm
can't
so
stand
excited.
it.
Okay, let's read about Adriana, and I'm going to read this so that I get it right. Okay, Adriana Trigiani is the New York Times bestselling author of 21 books. You've heard this 100 times, 1,000 times probably.
No, I like it. I'm just doing my facial exercises so I don't get the number 11s.
Of fiction and nonfiction, including The Good Left Undone, The Shoemaker's Wife, and Lucia. Her work has been published in 38 languages around the world, an award winning playwright, television writer, producer, and filmmaker, which is also amazing. So you wrote and directed
Hmm.
Big Stone Gap.
That's right.
Barry Valentine, I think, was on Lifetime. That was
That's right.
a book series.
Hmm.
And now you have this new book coming out, The View from Lake Como, which is so exciting. I
Love it.
love this book. It is just, it's so Italian. It's so American Italian, but there's recipes in there. There's just these nostalgic memories. And you have, I love the storyline. So the book is coming out July 8th,
Yep.
and we will be pushing out interviews just maybe a couple days before there. I'll check so I don't get in trouble. But um,
Fabulous. No, you can do them whenever you want. Whenever you want, Kelly.
I love the book. So before we dive in, tell
Hard
me.
for me to call you Kelly when you look so Italian.
I know you know what? So
You
my
look like a
daughter, my
Chiara to
yeah,
me.
my daughter is Giovanna, so we call her Gia, which is
Oh, so that's her kid. The kitchen's named for her.
Gia's Italian Kitchen. Well, because Kelly's my dad's Irish, so that's not Kelly's Italian Kitchen
Yeah,
sounds
you could have
terrible,
called
right?
it Kelly's Heroes after the movie and then burned your meatballs.
Yeah, so Gia, I call her
I
Gia.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so tell us how this book came about. Like, how did you come up with this story? How is it different from your other books?
Well, this book is an interesting cat because I took a while to really think about this book, but then if I think back on the other novels, and sometimes I'm thinking about something for 30 years, and I'm not exaggerating. These things
Oh, I
live
bet.
in you for a long time.
Yeah.
But this book was triggered by my great grandmother's story, and I did not want to set it in 1915.
Mm.
So I did a modern retelling of her life in this book, and her name was Giuseppina,
Okay.
like Giuseppina,
Yep.
Capodimonte Baratta Balancia,
Uh-huh.
Jess Baratta.
That's a mouthful. Let's say
Oh,
that
so is every Italian name you're gonna do,
Josephina,
Giuseppina
Capodimonte,
Capodimonte, her maiden name.
yep, Baratta, and
Mhm.
Balach.
Baratta Capodimonte is her middle name,
Yeah,
which is the marble company.
right,
She
right.
mother named her for her aunt Giuseppina Capodimonte. Baratta is her
Yep,
father's name, of
yep,
course. And then Balancia is Bobby
right.
Balancia's surname, and she divorced him, and she's living in her parents' basement.
Yeah,
And nobody understands why, because he's cute.
right,
Because that's how shallow we are sometimes. We just think he's cute, deal with it. But of course, that would not make a good novel.
right.
So there has to be some
There has to
problems
be
have
some
to ensue.
conflict. Yeah,
That's right. The conflict ensues.
yeah. So what I loved about it also, in addition to just the being Italian, is it was also Jess's journey of becoming a strong woman and becoming a strong woman in an Italian family, which is
Mm-hmm.
not easy.
Not easy. Not
Yeah.
easy. Not
So
easy.
was that your grandma? Like, is this really her personality, her journey?
Well, everything I write, Kelly, is tapped from my family.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay.
So I know that that's kind of a bold statement to make because obviously there's wars in my books. There's things my family didn't have any control over. There's
Yeah.
love affairs. There's things that go on but the energy center, the nuclear center of everything that's ticking is my family. So this is my great grandmother who probably, if I wrote her story back in time, I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to take those sensibilities because I feel that while some things have changed, the essential nature of a man and a woman kind of has not.
Yeah.
And the way I see it in writing Jess as this put upon character who is on her way once she divorces to being the maiden aunt in the family, taking care of the aging parent. I mean, they put you in a role.
Yeah.
So I wanted to write the novel that tells the story of the woman that says, you know what, I want to do it differently. I want to do it differently. So while her life is in rubble, then she reinvents it.
Right.
And then I think where women are really great. One of the ways is that we're handed something and we make the best out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And she has such the mental struggle, with her
Sure.
therapist, with her peers.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much going on, but it's very relatable because like we all have crap like that, right?
That's right. That's right. And her mother
All
says, go
trying to
talk to a
overcome it.
priest because they're free. But she doesn't go to the priest. She does online therapy, which I had a ball researching, by the way. That was fun. That was really
Actually,
fun.
that was one of my other questions. How did you come up with the marble? Or was that part of your grandparents' family business? And how did you research all that? There's a lot of technical
You
stuff.
have to go to Italy, first of all.
Yeah.
Well, I do. Listen, everybody does it differently. Some people I once had a friend who wrote a book about a ship and he had never been on water. So, I mean, you can do it because you're channeling your imagination. You can write
Yeah.
anything you want. But I always find throughout the arc of my books is craftsmanship. So
Mhm.
you learn about shoemaking, you learn about in this instance the marble business, the fabric business, all kinds of things, culinary arts like you're right in your kitchen. You learn these things because they're part of the waft and weave, the seamstresses, the waft and weave of the creative life. And I had to really come to terms with this, Kelly, because I come from a family that's highly creative. We have some writers on my mother's side. My great uncle was a very famous writer, but in Italy.
Okay.
But I wasn't a woman writer that I could find. But I saw them create businesses. My grandmothers both had businesses. I mean, so I come from kind of a long line. But of course, in the 1950s, Women were ordered back into the kitchen after World War II.
Yeah.
We lost some ground there.
Yeah.
Okay. And this isn't to disparage in any way. I think what people love about my work is that you find a family in it, but you find a woman fully formed, or at least on her way to getting there, who is entitled to her creativity, ambition, and happiness as much as the next guy.
I love
So,
it. I love
yeah,
it.
it's kind of heavy. I'm sorry. Didn't
No,
mean to go down that rabbit hole.
perfect. It's perfect.
That kind of got me depressed, Kelly, to be honest with
Sorry.
you.
Okay, well, let's talk about something that's not depressing. Let's talk about food. Okay, so here's the book. It's right behind her. You can clearly see that. Okay, my first question. We're in chapter 4, Sunday dinner. And I was telling my mom about this, and she was like, no way. So I know it's I know it's East Coast to put spare ribs in the sauce, and you call it gravy. Chicago calls it sauce.
That's right.
We were raised in Chicago.
That's right.
And
good Italians in Chicago.
Oh, there's a lot of good Italians.
Oh
Chicago.
my gosh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what I went. You put butter in your sauce?
Yes, I do.
Like, did your grandma do that, or did you make
that? Takes the sting out of the tomato. A lot of people, some people put a carrot in there to pull that bitterness out. All right, you end up eating the carrot, thinking it's a spare rib. Yeah, it's okay. But I do butter. It's one of my secrets. It gives us smoothness.
Okay.
Especially when it cooks over time.
Yeah.
And hours. Like if somebody comes over and I have to make it shui, which means quick. I throw that butter in there and it smooths it out. Otherwise, your guests are going to get agita unless it's been cooking all day.
So do you have to skim that off? Or does it not boil?
Kelly, you stir it in. What's the matter with you? You stir it. It's called blending. It's called blending the ingredients together.
Thanks, Adriana.
Okay. I know I'm making you laugh, but listen, it's like you're my sister already. You're making me laugh. But you just try it. Okay. You don't like it. Don't do it a second time. But I'm going to tell you right now, the smoothness will kill you.
Okay.
I love it.
I will try it. My grandmother might roll over in her grave, but I will try it.
They don't know. They're on the other side. They're not eating spaghetti over there. I don't know what they're doing. They're singing. They're flying around. They're torturing the people back here on Earth that they didn't like. They're very busy.
Yeah. So do you have memories of your childhood of like being Jess and being the helper to the grandma and like
you could tell those were real stories in there.
Okay.
Making the cavatelli when you're little, your fingers are small. We'd roll those for hours.
Yeah.
In my great aunt Mary's basement, Mary Farino. And we rolling for hours. And I would have anguish when she made them the next day at Sunday dinner. And I would just watch men just shovel that cavatelli in. Be like, slow down. It took me all day, man. That's what I was saying in my little brain.
Yeah.
But again, we were there to serve.
Right.
So you would never say it out loud. You would just think it and scar your soul with that information.
Okay. Let's see. There was another, I think it was, where is it?
Are you looking for the lardo or the zeppolis?
No, the is it zeppoli or zeppole?
We say zeppoli.
Okay. Okay. So I made the dough.
You made my recipe? I'm so jealous.
It's right here.
Good girl.
So I'm going to try it. It's been sitting. It hasn't risen as much as I thought it would, but I'm going to give it a try.
There's swamp-like extremes in your weather there. Yeah, it takes.
So I have powdered sugar and granulated sugar.
I don't like powdered. I like granulated.
You do like the granulated. Okay.
I think it's prettier.
The diamond.
Powdered, it's like you need gloves. You got to wash your hands after. Granulated looks like little diamond dust.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna give
But
it
of
a
course,
taste.
it's personal choice. So if somebody really wants it, yeah,
Well, if they want the sweet, right? To just
yeah,
enhance the.
yeah,
So a zeppoli is basically an Italian donut or a donut. It's a donut hole.
sure. Every culture has a fried donut.
Mm-hmm.
This is ours. Yeah,
Yeah. So do you have memories of like making the raviolis? Was that a big thing for you guys?
we Kelly, we made everything. So anything that appears in my books, we made. Now the zeppoli, my mother called them donuts, even though she's Northern
Okay.
Italian. My mother's, oh my God, they were so good. That's her recipe.
Okay.
So you'll see they get almost like a crust on the other. I can't even, it's soft on the, oh my
Yeah.
God. They're so good. But they make them at carnivals and stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in Rosetta, Pennsylvania, where my dad's people are from, they would pull the dough almost like in shapes and throw it in the deep fryer and then dunk it in that sugar. You'd walk around the carnival eating this giant
Okay.
thing. Yeah, of dough.
Like the big, what's the like the
Elephant ear.
Yeah.
But an elephant ear is a French pastry. It's layered. This is just the dough
So yeah.
that bubbles up in the fryers, and the ladies of the Sodality flip them, and then they put the sugar on them and stuff.
Okay.
It's
So
fantastic.
they're just like pouring
Yeah.
them in there. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm
That's
gonna
good
do it.
food.
I've got my little. I'm doing it.
Oh, I'm so excited. Will you take pictures and send it to me? Do
Yes.
a video? Yeah.
Well, I want to cook with
In this
sometime.
day and age, there's no world anymore without social media. So
Right.
take a picture of doing whatever you want, Cal, and I'll run
Yep.
it.
And someday I want to cook with you. How wouldn't that be fun?
Of course.
Okay.
Anytime, babe.
Someday.
I'm
Okay,
sure you'll
so
come to New York.
I'm gonna read this summary about the book and then let's get more into the book. So readers will quickly fall in love with Jess Capodimonte Baratta, recently divorced young Italian woman who had to move into the basement of her parents' home in Lake Como, which is also funny that there's actually a Lake Como in New Jersey.
Yes,
But
there is. How
when you see
convenient.
the title, you're like, oh, Lake Como. But she goes to both, right? So
Yeah, that's right. She's raised in one and she goes there
yeah,
on a kind of a mission of self-discovery when she leaves Carrara.
yeah. I love it. Okay, so
I really love this book too. I think if you can't get to Italy this summer, read this book.
yeah,
You go 9-10 hours of your life, you're going to feel like you took a vacation. And you'll be eating the food. Look, you're already making the Zeppelis, and you just read the ARE, which is the Advanced Reader's Edition. So it's something for everybody. But anyway, so you were saying, Kelly?
no, it is, and to your point, somebody said it's the best summer read. Who said that? The Publishers Weekly. This is the best book of the summer. So
Yeah, that makes me very happy. Thank you, Publishers Weekly.
Yeah, so I have a collaboration with one of our small local business owners who's got the bookstore, and she's got pre-orders lined up because I told her I was doing this. So
what's the name? What's the name of her store?
The Swamp Fox Bookstore.
How fab! The Swamp Fox Bookstore.
Yeah, it's in Marion, which is a suburb of Cedar Rapids.
I'm going to call her in Cedar Rapids.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I'll tell her.
I'm going to give her a jingle. What's her name?
Terry.
Terry over at Swamp Fox Bookstore. Okay.
That would be crazy.
I will do it. I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm glad people are
awesome. And it's a little local, right? Like a little small business owner like
Well, that's part of my rationale and everything is that because I come from a mom and pop family, which means we never went on vacation. Well, we did go on vacation to my grandmother's house. That's okay.
Hang on.
That's the mail being delivered.
Did you take him upstairs?
If that's like my dog, this doesn't listen to my instructions at all.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
If it wasn't 90 out, I would throw them outside.
You can't.
But I can't.
They'll molt and I'll have worse problems.
Yes. Anyway.
What was I saying?
The bookstore, local business, mom, your family.
So the layered into my tours, I want the local bookstore to benefit. So they provide the books to our we're doing a show with a band, my brothers. It's a family act and going through and comedy, as you can tell. And the local bookstore benefits from that. We pre-sell the tickets. It's
Okay.
exciting. Lots of sellouts.
Yes, well, you've got big tours coming up, and a lot of them on your website are sold out. But
That's
how did
right.
you pick your cities? Where all are you going?
Well, we studied this for 2 years. Where I'd been before, where I needed to go again, maybe where I fell off the wagon somewhere. Or I don't mean that I drank, but I just, I needed to. Yeah, we kind of put it together that way. And then honestly, Kelly, to be completely, I am everywhere year round. I work, I'm going to be in Phoenix in November. You get the picture. I try not to tour year round, but sometimes things will come up, and then I'm off to a place.
So do you
So
like?
so we chose them. We chose them based on how we could move the band, where I would be in conversation, like that.
Okay. So do you target the small bookstores usually, or do you do a little of both, like the big
Yeah,
box?
we really we do Barnes and
Yeah.
Noble. We do Amazon. We do, but that local bookstore. When I sell out a theater with 350 seats twice, that's a lot for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good month for them.
Yeah.
So that's how we try to do it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, do you have, I mean, this is not your first rodeo, so you're probably getting a lot of this done on your own, but for people, so I'm writing a cookbook memoir, and there's probably a million people out there that are trying to write and get recognized. Like, how did you kind of break into that in your earlier years?
This is my 25th anniversary as a published author.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I wrote for film and television, and I still do. I just incorporated it into the book writing that I do. How did I do it? I mean, everybody has to do it kind of the same way. Got to get an agent
Yeah.
who represents you to the major publishers.
Yeah.
You do that, and then you pick who you'd like to work with.
Okay.
Hopefully, they pick you and you
Yeah.
pick them. But I would like to point out, in the 25 years that I've been doing this, the big difference is last year in the United States of America, 3.8 million books were self-published. So you can
Wow.
now always publish your book. You don't have to
Yeah.
wait for a major publisher to do it. I, of course, went that route because at the time that was the way to do it.
Okay.
And I love working with experts. That makes me better.
Yeah.
So I've had good editors and great publishers, and great editors, great publishers, and it's helpful. But what you do is you have to submit to an agent, and you have to write a proposal for your book and explain what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you could write a proposal, you could probably write a book, in my humble opinion, because proposals are hard to do because you have to tell what you're going to do.
Okay.
But I wrote a cookbook with my sisters, which was
Oh.
fun. Yeah, and my mom, called Cooking with My Sisters.
Oh,
So I understand what you're going through.
okay.
It ain't easy.
Oh, I gotta find that. I didn't.
Yeah,
I
it's called
didn't do
Cooking with
that.
My Sisters. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's good.
Oh, fun. Okay, so let me read some more about the view from Lake Como. So Jess is also a talented draftswoman working in the marble business run by her dapper Uncle Louie,
Yep.
who believes she can do anything once she
Yep.
invests in a better wardrobe, which is funny.
That's funny.
When the Capodimonte and Baratta families endure an unexpected loss, Jess gathers the courage to take a solo trip to her ancestral home of Carrara, Italy. From the shadows of the majestic marble-capped mountains of Tuscany to the glittering streets of Milan and the shores of the enchanting Lake Como, Jess begins to carve her own place in the old new world. I love it.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
Uncle Louie, like everyone probably has an Uncle Louie, right? But
Everybody.
he was I picture him as my great grandfather, who was Louis versus Louis, but Louis Martino. He always wore a three-piece suit everywhere, all the time, no matter what he was doing. It was always, I loved that. It was always this, like, you're so descriptive in like getting an image in the reader's head. How do you do
Well,
that?
the characters are real to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the craft of it, is that you really have to see it. When
Yeah.
I read a book and it's nothing's described, I lose interest pretty quickly because to me, one of the pleasures of reading is to take me into a world I might not know.
Yeah.
But I also get pleasure out of places I have been and I read about them because I see a different perspective. So, how is that done? Well, that's the craft. That's the, for me to bring you into a scene when you're writing a book, it's through the description
Mm-hmm.
to bring it alive on the page. And if you're making a movie, it has to be in the script. Everything begins on the page, the written word, every art form. You got to do it. I mean, that's, of course, of a literary bent. Um, and it takes a tremendous amount of planning and detail, in my opinion. And
Oh,
that it's
yeah.
also fun. It's also fun,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. But to bring something alive for people on the page is you have to be able to tell a story on the page. And I think it's very similar to what we're doing right now when I'm talking to you. If I can explain something to you, or you can tell me a story and I take it in, that's the first step is the telling of the story. And then it's the writing of the story.
Yeah. I loved when she first arrived to she was on her way from the Milan airport to Carrara and she stops for the chestnuts. And I was like,
Oh, I love that
I
scene.
that I've never thought of doing that. So we go next week. Um, but we're going to Sicily because we none of us have ever been there because
Okay, that you're gonna love it.
we're all north. But I was like, I've never thought to make gnocchi out of chestnuts. I've never done that either. So you guys actually did that.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the sauce?
Well, you could do whatever you want, but when something's that dense, a chestnut is sweet,
Yeah,
slightly sweet, but it's very dense.
yeah.
So the sauce you want to use should be very light.
Like
Again, I would do a butter and sage. I would
that's
do
what I was gonna
something.
say. Garlic and butter and sage.
Well, yeah, you don't even need the garlic. If
Okay.
you did butter and sage and the sweetness of that chestnut, it's got a kind of a should melt in your mouth. Gnocchi should be light.
Yeah.
These things that are like hockey pucks, I can't eat it. My grandmother made it like it was like a feather, but that takes manipulation, time,
Yeah.
and you know that you're in a kitchen, you know
Yeah.
how to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
gnocchi and I don't like gnocchi any time of year but the winter
Why?
because it's heavy. I
Yeah.
even when it's light, it's heavy.
Yeah. That's
You
true.
know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's true. Okay, so one of the other things I wanted to ask you about, you, what did you do? You wrote scripts for the Cosby Show. How
Well,
cool
let's
was
let's let's be very definitive.
that?
I was a television writer producer.
Okay.
I started out on a show called A Different World.
Yeah.
I also wrote for The Cosby Show. I wrote for Good Sports with Farrah Fawcett and Ryan O'Neal. I worked for Bill Persky. I was a showrunner on City Kids. I really worked hard in television.
Wow.
Um, and when you don't, well, I guess you could write a script for a show, but we would do 24 in a year in a season,
Okay.
okay? And we would get several assignments in that season to write scripts. So I really earned my stripes as a young writer doing that and doing it on a deadline.
Okay.
And then I saw the world change quite a bit in the 90s and still a young writer, but after I did City Kids, I struggled a little bit to like find my voice. Like, how am I going to do this? And I was longing to write this Italian American experience, and you couldn't sell it. You still kind of can't, truth be told. I mean, I try and I've done it a few times, but to make a very Valentine, to make a Big Stone Gap, it takes all the forces of heaven and earth to do it. But I love to direct and I love to write screenplays, but they're different skills
Yeah.
from writing a
Yeah.
book. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your title, the Queen of Italian American Literature, knighted by the President of Italy. Tell
Yes.
me how that.
Very honored. And you know what? I'm just going to
Holy
be
crap.
honest. I'll tell you the truth, Kelly. It's like this would have been great if my parents were alive and my grandparents were alive.
Yeah.
For me, for my brothers and sisters, we were very honored, but I didn't achieve what they achieved. The guts to come here. You know, immigrant is a word of honor in my home, and it
Yeah.
was since the day I was born. I mean, we were taught this.
Yeah.
Those are the bravest people, most courageous, gutsy visionaries,
Mm-hmm.
which is why we have such a great country, you know? The immigrant to me is everything.
So, do you speak Italian?
I can read it. I studied it for 3 years. I can barely speak English, to be honest with you. I mean, when I get there, if 2 weeks in, I start to really get it.
Okay.
To be in a culture. Yeah. I mean, can I speak it? I speak it with this kind of feeling to
Yeah.
it. And my husband said that's not really Italian
Yeah.
that you speak. Yeah, yeah, that's me. I'm an ear auditory learner.
Is your husband Italian?
No,
No. Okay.
no, but he
Yeah,
travels with me to Italy, so that
you
counts.
have to like be in it, and
By the
then
way, I recommend not marrying an Italian when you're an Italian girl.
I didn't.
Did you marry an Italian?
My husband's German,
Well, so it's
so
over the border. What do you want?
I know we're too hard headed.
Well, you know, I'm sorry that this is devolving into a therapy session, Kelly. That your husband's driving you crazy and he's Germanic. But what did you expect? He's
Yeah.
German. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's we're just both type A personalities. What are you gonna do?
Right. Oh, well, no, I understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What does he do?
He's an engineer.
That's a good job.
Hmm.
That's a
Yeah.
good career.
That's
So
actually
he's analytical. He's analytical.
oh yeah, very analytical, very black and white,
Mhm.
very
Did he design the kitchen or did you?
no. You know what? This kitchen is phenomenal, and it was here when we moved in here to this.
Okay. That's the best news I could ever hear.
Yeah.
This
I would,
renovation's a
I
nightmare.
would love to. I mean, I don't even need to redesign it. I love this kitchen. It's awesome.
No, I do too. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I think it's a beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you go to Italy,
Yeah.
do you still have living relatives that you go visit?
Yes, I have relatives, which is on my mother's side, which makes it so delicious to
Nice.
see them. Yeah, it's great.
So is she
Great.
the one kind of by Venice or down by Bari? Who's north, who's south? Mom or
My
dad?
cousins are in my cousins are in Bergamo, Scilpario, and Vilminore.
Where are those?
Bergamo's north of Milan in the
Oh, okay.
in the Lombardy region in the
Okay.
Italian Alps.
Okay.
I wrote a novel called The Shoemaker's Wife that
Yep.
starts there. However,
Oh,
in this novel, I wove it in again because I can't get enough of it. That's
yeah.
where I'm going to end up. So I love where my grandmother's from and my grandfather, Bonicelli, and Spada and Bonicelli. So I go up there a lot.
Okay.
But Venice, fantastic. The Veneto, don't
Mhm.
nothing fancy pants. I didn't come from glass blowers, farmers in the Veneto. Go to Di
Yep.
Sant'Urbano and then Rosetto Valfatore near Foggia,
Okay.
Bari, Puglia, that thing.
Okay.
And then there's an argument every time I talk to a different Italian. I can't take it. No, it's closer to Bari. No, it's Apulia. No, it's this,
Oh.
whatever it is. You can find it. I was there. It exists. It's fabulous. And I used that in Kiss Carlo, my
Okay.
novel Kiss Carlo, the whole town of Rosetto Alfatore in America and in Italy. See, I kind of, yeah, you get it. You get what I'm doing here. It's a deep dive into my family history. It's just a deep dive into my family history, and I love it. So it's like it never gets old.
And it doesn't even matter to me anyway, like what city we go to, it's always amazing.
Always,
They're always amazing. They're different,
always.
but they're always great. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I have a story that took place in Rome and Capri. I have a story. I mean, almost every region.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
Do you have a favorite? Or is it just up in near Milan because that's your roots?
One of my favorite places. I have cousins in Sestri Levante. on the Ligurian coast. I love that Ligurian area. Okay. And when I had Matthew McConaughey on my podcast, he wrecked his motorbike there, his motorcycle. So we had a moment about Sestri Levante. I said, I love that town. You're never going to eat better fish. It is so,
Yeah.
oh God, it's so, Kelly, I'm not kidding you. You need to go right now. Don't even finish this podcast. Just run and get on a plane and go there. But no, what's my favorite? All of it. I mean, how can you not love Capri?
Yeah.
That is like, some people here say Capri, but it's Capri. And it's magical. Positano.
That's where we're going. We're doing Positano in Sicily.
Are you doing Sorrento?
No, because we're staying in Salerno and we just don't have enough time.
That's okay. You're going to do it. It's going to be fabulous no matter what. But Sicily's beautiful. My sister just went for a week and loved it. Yeah.
And of course, like, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, Mount Etna erupts. And I'm like,
yeah, I think it erupted when they were on the airplane. I think they're on their way back.
But I think that's kind of just par for the course there. And it was like,
yeah.
So, I mean, you read about it.
And look, I mean, many people are writing our demise.
Yeah.
I have a lot of faith in people. I have a lot of faith in people. The natural world, we are the servant of the natural world. So it doesn't matter when those storms come through, when you're on that coastline, you're going to get hit, or when you're in Italy, boom, boom, I hear something.
Yeah.
Start running. You just run for your life, when the waves get so high on the Hudson River that they go 3 blocks over across the West Side Highway, and so we solve these things as we go. But I think that inherent in the Italian way is this love of the land and the appreciation of the garden and the environment. And, there's no additives in their food. I mean, like in America, it's like they created hog slop for people.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. Because
we could do better than that. Okay. And we could do better. We know better. We should do better. It's like, but that's what we put our dukes up about and try to fight for. It's to make it better for our children and the grandchildren that will come and the great grandchildren, because we'll be dead.
Well, and that's a whole nother conversation when you think about the food industry and the pharmaceuticals and the government influence on the health, aid. All of that is like this huge, huge can of worms that it feels unsolvable for the food, for the health of the food.
Well, it is solvable. It is solvable. We elect people to represent our points of view, right? And when I'm talking about pharmaceuticals, well, let's just say, there's abuses in that system that are heinous, but we also need medication when we're sick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always like a practical center to these problems that everybody agrees on. Okay.
Yeah.
But then when you fan out from them, that's when it gets crazy. As I get older, greed is something I notice in people that I didn't notice when I was young. This rampant, crazy greed, and as I always say, a yacht smells of seawater and wee-wee. Okay. It just does. So let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Okay. This idea that this thing is better than that thing, which makes you, those are not the things that shore up your soul.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not pointing fingers. We're all human beings. We all have foibles and problems and sins and whatever you want to say. But my God, there's common sense. And that's one of the things I love about the culinary arts is common sense in the kitchen. It's common sense what works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That takes practice, though, too, to have the intuition.
It does.
But it's fun. It's fun experimenting, of course.
It's true. I agree. I like the experimenting part.
Okay. So you mentioned your podcast.
Yeah.
Tell us more, because you've had big guests on there talking that are usually other authors, right? Or are they talking about books that
artists, luminaries, and authors, usually authors.
Okay, so tell them.
And I have on people I love. Like if I don't want to have them on, I don't have to. It's my podcast. But it started during the pandemic when I had friends that, everybody was struggling
Yeah.
to talk about books. And I just kind of fell into it
Okay.
in a very natural way. I was doing a thing, Facebook Live, and then I just started to think, what if I coordinate this? Like tomorrow, you're going to want to listen because it's Keith McNally who
Mm.
founded the Odeon, Balthazar, Pastis, these great New York institution restaurants.
Okay.
The Odeon, did I say that? Yeah. And you're going to want to,
Okay.
and he's a restaurateur,
Okay. Nice.
English immigrant, English, Irish, Scottish, English immigrant. It's hard to
So
say.
you pick people that have crossed your path that
Or
you
that I'm
want to
really
work.
curious about. Now,
Yeah.
here's an interesting one. I had Bob Gaudio of the Four Seasons, and I met his daughter, Danielle, on Long Island
Okay.
at Adelphi University, invited by the great novelist Alice Hoffman.
Okay.
And I was there to moderate my friend Sarah Jessica Parker with her mother, Barbara Forstay.
Okay.
Okay. And through that, Danielle came up to me, said, my dad's Bob Gaudio. Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And I had him on and he talked about being a creative artist
Mm.
and in music. And it was fascinating.
Yeah.
So sometimes that happens where it's something magical, but usually it comes through a book or a shared interest in a particular book. Matthew McConaughey is one of our most popular guests. He wrote this incredible book, Green Lights.
Yep.
If you haven't read it, grab it. It
Yep.
unleashes your curiosity and your creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been speaking more and more over the past few years, since I think probably since that book came out. I did read that.
Well, listen, to be a movie star,
Yeah.
and I could tell you this because I direct them.
Yeah.
Okay. To be a movie star is such an existence. It's to pick the right script, to work with the best directors, to then have it click in person as the director compels the actor to dramatize those words.
Mm-hmm.
The visual aspect of spectacle of it. I have a lot of respect for Matthew McConaughey. People might think, oh, he does romantic comedies, but if you saw Mud or, the Dallas Buyers Club is a tour de force. He won the Oscar for that. But I got to know what makes him tick, which is what makes these things so interesting, these deep dives that you're doing that I try to do, which is to tell me how you do it. How did you get there? What goes into it? Why you? How did this happen?
Yeah.
I think that's the interesting part of life. And in the world of books, Kelly, some of the great ones don't get found till their 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
The great Frank McCourt with Angela's Ashes. Bonnie Garmis recently, she's in her 60s. She wrote Lessons in Chemistry. I adore her and I love the book. So what I love about my industry, which I call show business, is this absolute openness to the creative ideal, to finding your voice and having it be heard, no matter how hard it is and no matter how long it takes. None of this is easy.
Yeah.
But all those jobs I did coming into it, they really helped me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of it's easy.
Mm-mm. But it's fun. I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to be busting rock at San Quentin, for example. I like what I'm doing.
So when you were like 10 years old, what did you
Yeah.
want to be when you grew up? Or what did you think you wanted to be?
10. We have to understand when we moved to Big Stone Gap, I thought I was on a set, which when I finally got to make the movie 40 years later, maybe not 40 years, I don't know how many years it was. I can't do math, so just but as a grown up, got to make it was 40 years. Got to make it in my town. I was able to take some of those ideas that I had when I was 10 years old and dramatize them.
Oh, okay.
So you see, nothing's ever lost,
It just comes around.
It comes around and you hold it because
Around.
everything that you are, everything that you write, everything that you do is from this source. The seed of your soul, the imagination. I think every book's the journey of a soul, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so this is a question that I think Cherry Bomb asks sometimes on their interviews, but I think it's the funniest question.
Who's Cherry Bomb?
Um, I think they're in New York City.
Cherry Bomb.
Cherry, Cherry Bomb. It's a magazine and a
Oh, fun. Okay. Okay.
and
You
a
guys know Cherry
podcast.
Bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah. Angie knows it. Angela
Okay.
knows it. Okay.
So she usually asks at the end if you were on a deserted island and it could be an artist or a chef or someone living or deceased, who would you be stranded with and why?
Well, if I was stranded on a desert island, I would hopefully be having good sex. So I would have to, because why? You would be bored. You would be bored. What are you going to go fish with a spear, build a fire? Who
Uh-huh.
who who cares about that?
You're funny.
But great sex, I feel. So I'd have to bring my husband because I guess I'm married to him. So I would have to bring him. Yeah, I think that great sex is like great food. I marvel at the fact that people sometimes think sex is not important or it's expendable. I think it's essential. So as a good meal is.
Mm-hmm.
And and keep in mind I was raised Catholic, so I'm really going out on a limb here. But it did fall under a married husband, right? So that's probably fine. But no, whenever I think about that desert island thing, I think, what do you do there? I mean, if you don't have paper and pencil or anything, you'd figure it out. But a deserted island, it's just a huge concept to me.
Yeah, I know.
But it's a great question.
It's a funny question.
It tests you.
Okay, so what do you want your readers to know either about the view from Lake Como or about you that we haven't talked about yet?
Here's what I want the reader to know. If you've never read me, please read them. Please read them because you will find in them the great and important concepts of being a happy human being. And in this book, I tackle through Jess Baratta, the character, what's my purpose and what makes me happy after years of making everybody else happy.
Mm-hmm.
At age 34, she goes, but she's so broken, Kelly. She's so broken at the when we meet her. She doesn't know. And I don't think I'm giving anything away when I say she's got to go back to the start to figure this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
Women tend to look at their lives like, oh, I make him happy. I take care of the children. That's all good. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I know the drill.
Yeah.
But you can't give yourself if you don't know yourself and you're not whole. You just can't. I say it to my interns, our group. I try to impart this. Look, you got one gig. One gig is to figure out why you're here. If you figure that out and you earn your living by the labor of your own hands, serving that, you're going to be happy. I'm pretty happy most days. Wouldn't you say, girls? Things annoy me, but that's different. You got to earn a living. You got to make money. But how much do you need? I mean, at a stage of life now where I go, when's the finish? I'm circling the drain now. How long's it going to take?
Yeah.
And the people in my life live to be very old, but I just lost 2 cousins who are older than me, but that scared me to death.
Yeah.
And it made me knuckle down and go, hey, what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing? And I'm about to do a big tour. The last line of the show is, hey, one thing before I go, do something that scares you. I
Mm,
just did.
that's good.
Yeah, because the show is scaring me. I'm scared,
Why are
but
you scared?
because I haven't done this. I'm calling my friends that act on Broadway. How do you do this 8 times a week? I got to do 10 of these and then
Oh,
24
okay.
stops. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it
Okay.
has to be the same thing because every night that's not my jam. I kind of come into a room and go, "Ooh, I read it."
Okay.
And then I'll vibe it. But you can't do that with a show like this. You got to give them you got to be the same thing
Hmm.
with a new twist, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you won't be up there alone, right?
Oh, my brother will be up there, but I think he's got the attitude every man for himself. He'll be the band, but I do the comedy part.
Okay.
But it's got a wonderful theme to it, and the characters in it are really juicy, and it reflects this.
Okay.
It's about I'm born into this family. Is that who I am? Or I'm born into this family. I'm going to tell you the story. Now you tell me who they are. And in so doing, you tell me who you are.
That's really deep.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? I'm not in the fudge sickle business here. I'm in show business. It has to have
Meat. Yeah.
gravitas, meat,
Yeah. Yeah.
density.
Yeah.
It's like, you're making fun of my butter in the sauce, but it smooths the sauce. And that meat in there falls off the bone. My grandmother used to eat the bones.
Oh,
And
well,
that woman
I
had
read
her
that, but I
teeth.
thought you meant the meat. She actually ate the bone.
Well, you eat the marrow of the bones. Have you ever eaten the
Oh, the
marrow of a
marrow.
bone?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but we chew up the bones too. I think that's why we have good teeth and bones in my family. We ate the bones. The bones were very soft at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you remember what that tastes like? Of course you can.
Yeah.
You chewed on that bone.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, maybe people who aren't Italian are not going to understand
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I think in France they eat the marrow of the bones, right? Don't they have a marrow?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Telling you,
Yeah.
I have an intern here. I have Angela. She like knows everything about everything. I can't believe I didn't know anything when I was your age. I learned that like when I was 42. I don't know how you know that. But anyway, but she eats the bones. But she had all her teeth when she died. Is there a connection? I think so.
Mm.
She ate stuff people didn't eat. She sent us out in a field to pick dandelion every summer, and I still try to do this. Eat dandelion. It's a liver cleanse.
They sell like dandelion supplements,
Well, what is that? Can I test, please?
but we should just go pick a few.
Please, but dude, you got to be careful. There is nothing's governing supplements. You
Oh, no
understand?
kidding. I know. Yeah.
There's one guy I use, and I'll give you his name after this because my doctor checked it out, or I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
So you go out, how many you eat the whole head of the dandelion, and how many do you eat? And how
You make
often
a
do you eat?
salad out of it.
Oh,
You clean it, you shred it,
okay.
you put it in a bowl,
And just put it in the
you
salad.
squeeze the juice of a lemon, a little
Okay.
bit of salt.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Now, what my grandmother did that'll make your mouth water is on top of that, she would poach eggs hard in tomato sauce. They call them eggs in
Oh,
purgatory.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
that what they call them?
Yeah, yeah.
But that's not what she called it. She called them Venetian eggs.
Okay.
Now you have that tomato and you
Yep.
have that delicious egg, a little
Mm.
salt on that egg,
Yeah.
and then you ladle that over those dandelions,
Hmm.
and you're eating probably the best food you'll ever eat,
And so
farm to
healthy.
table.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
And when
that's
I'm hungry, that's what I make. Because you always have a little gravy or sauce in your
right.
house
Yeah.
and an egg.
Mm-hmm.
Well, until they were $42 a piece now. You have an egg, and then, and I don't put cheese or anything on it. I like the simplest of flavors when I cook. So if you don't need anything more than a squeeze of lemon and some salt on that salad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I like to make a little vinegar? Of course, I love vinegar.
Yeah.
A little bit of olive oil, sure.
Yeah.
But the way the Americans eat it, you're gonna kill yourself. It's just they lop that stuff on. It's all greasy. No, I don't like that.
That's one of probably the simplest things that I do in a lot of my cooking classes, that people think is so difficult. And I'm like, this is how easy it is to make a homemade vinaigrette. It's healthy. There's no sugar in it. There's no mayonnaise in it. And it's so delicious. And it's so easy.
It amazes me that people
Yeah.
fear simplicity
Yeah.
when they're married to men. Just look at your husband. That you're never going to get more simple than that, and apply it to your cooking.
You are so funny. Okay, parting words. Give us some parting words, Adriana. This has been so amazing.
Well, I first of all, I adore you. I think you're onto something big. I think you're a star. Okay.
You.
So you heard it from me. I'm pretty good at picking. Okay.
Thank you.
So my parting words to anyone within the sound of our voices right now, because we're going to have a lot of people from Iowa listening, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My God, they're beautiful people. I'm going to say this. Take a day this summer to just be whatever you are, whether you're 22, 18, if you're 47, if you're 92, if you're 62, wherever you are in the spectrum of your life. Take a day to think about your destiny. And I don't care where you are, at the end of that day, you're going to rejigger what you're doing. Because we don't have time anymore to think about who we are and what we are. And I'm going to I'm going to say this. This is really true. Read.
Yeah.
I hope you read The View from Lake Como. You're going to get something deep out of it. And I don't take you for granted for the 9 or 10 hours you're going to spend with me reading. Support your local library. Read something you might not normally read. The podcast has taught me that when I go towards something that I think I'll never read that, and then I read it and it's Illuminata, you will have light in your life that you didn't know was there. Your destiny, and then the tools to make it happen. And then you have us to listen to. They listen to Kelly. You can listen to my podcast. Just you never stop learning.
Yeah.
So commit to it. Commit to it and watch what happens. It'll be transformative in your life. And a lot of women are listening to this. The average age of the American widow is 57.
That's so young.
The average age. So, enjoy him, the simpleton that he is. Enjoy him. And then, for the whatever 30 years you got with him or whatever it is. But understand that even that relationship will have its limitations. The relationship that has no limitations is the one you have with yourself and the journey of your soul. That is my summating comment. And I don't know if summating is a word, the summation of my commentary, because I'm just a little drunk. This is gin. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my gosh, Adriana, this has been so fun. I want to keep talking to you, but
I know, but you got to make those Zeppelis.
Yeah.
And you got to take pictures, make a video, and send it to me.
I will.
Because nobody's made Aunt Lil Zeppelis yet, and I want to see how yours turn out.
Sweet.
I mean, I've made them, but you need to.
Yeah. Okay, I'm doing it. Well, okay. I appreciate your time. This has been so awesome. Learning just more about you and your background and your book. I love it. And I hope we can keep in touch.
And there's a trip to Iowa in my future. I'll meet you in person. I'll come and cook with you.
Well, even if you go to Chicago, I'll meet you there.
Okay, I go to Chicago. Yeah.
But come to Iowa.
South Bend. It's all good. It's all good.
Thank you again.
So happy to meet you.
You too. Adriana Trigiani and Kelly with Gia's Italian Kitchen. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll put all of our socials in the notes. Go find both of us. Like, comment,
follow us. You're going to get this on a daily basis. Follow us.
Do all those.
All working here like, stevedores on the social media. Listen, enjoy it. It's free. That's the best part of all this. Hurry before they start charging people.
Who's doing your Audible?
Are you ready?
Who's doing it?
Oscar winner.
Okay.
Mira Sorvino.
No way. Why? That's awesome. Why her?
Because back in the day, She read Lucia,
Uh-huh.
and she was spectacular. And then she went and had 4 kids, and I had my daughter, and we're married, and we did our thing. But here we are, just the other day having breakfast.
Aw.
She is incredible, and I'm cooking up stuff with her. I got a lot of books that
Okay.
but
Awesome.
she did an incredible job. It was for Penguin Random House Audio. Uh, uh, Nithya Rajajan was the producer, and my director was Mae Wuthrich. And I have to say that because I think that they're stars.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited. I'm going to listen to it on audio, even though I've read it, because I love listening to audios and I want
Me
to
too.
read it
Me
again,
too.
but it'll be fun to do it while I'm
And
walking.
yeah, she'll be with you. You
Yeah.
can listen while you cook. That's what I do,
Yeah. Yeah.
or clean, which is more rare. More important to eat than it is to clean. But yeah, cleaning closet out. I love to listen to audios. Yeah, and all these things you can get at your library.
Yeah.
But we want you to support the
Support
Swamp
the
Fox
locals.
Bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm going to say this too. A book is the biggest bargain on the planet.
Yeah.
For under $30, sometimes you get them for 19. The more you buy them, the cheaper it gets. That's why I push sales, because I want to get it down to $18, $19.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not even a lunch.
But this is actually a resource too, because it has recipes in it.
Listen, what
You're
else can
getting
I
a
do
two
for
for
you?
one.
What else can I do for you?
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm doing everything I can for you. Yeah, it's all good. So,
Okay, Adriana, thank you again. And
thank
we'll
you.
talk to you again soon.
We'll see you soon. Thank you,
Bye
sweet.
bye.
Bye bye, Cal.